age, the cells in our stomach change and we don't secrete as much stomach acid. Now, stomach acid is a key part of how we break off B12 from animal proteins and absorbed it. Dr. Katz talked about intrinsic factor. The other key piece that has to work 100% is your body's stomach acid juices have to be functioning enough so that they can physically unlock B12 from the protein. And as we age, our stomach lining changes and we're not secreting this acid to the same extent we do when we're younger. And it's estimated up to 30% of people over age 50 actually don't secrete enough stomach acid to get all the B12 that they need from their diet.
30%.
Yeah, up to 30%.
So I brought an example. You know, it's hard to get these examples. This is a perfect one, though. Let me show you this. Here's a young person's stomach and an older person's stomach. And if you notice it, this is a very roughened surface. I mean, it really does look like a mountain range. Okay, now compare that to this.
Right. So you physically don't have that capability to secrete the gastric juices you need to cleave that B12 from the protein so that then you can start the process of absorbing it.
Let me show this to you graphically and then a little demonstration. So this is what your acid levels look like as you age. Find yourself on it depending on how old you are. When you're a young person, it's way up there. And as it dramatically decreases to less than half of what it used to be, you're in your 40s and 50s, you begin to have more and more issues with just the basic digestion of the food you're eating, but especially some of the medications you're taking. So vitamin B12 becomes more of an issue because it reflects both of those phenomena. So this is a little demonstration that I think is really cool. That'll help explain this. Now, we're talking about a vitamin. I know it gets complicated, but this isn't complicated. It's very understandable. Vitamin B12 comes into your body bound to a protein, to the food that you ate. It's usually found in meat, right? So vitamin B12, and there's the protein behind it. Vitamin B12, protein. We're all clear on this. Your body has to separate these two away from each other. Now, since there are no hands in your stomach, it doesn't work this way, right? Your acid has to do that hard work for you. So if I take protein and B12 and I throw it into your stomach when you're a young person, David, if you don't mind, mix that up a little bit. You'll notice that, see how it's separated quickly? Immediately separate it out. And then as you mix it up, you'll notice that the B12 itself will begin to dissolve. Now, in the meantime, take someone who's over the age of 50, this bottle, okay? Protein bound to B12, and what happens? Drop it in there, and what happens? Nothing. See, it's not breaking apart. Even if I hold it under, it stays linked together. And that gets worse and worse. You can take extra B12. It doesn't matter. If you don't break away the B12, this white portion from what it's bound to, you can't digest it. Now look what happened over here. It's gone. Dissolved away. Once the B12 breaks away, your body can absorb it. Otherwise, this will go right through your intestinal system because this reflects your stomach, goes right out your poop. And you just wasted money.
And this is also naturally occurring B12 in food. Not the same thing when you take a supplement or the injection. This physical removal from that animal protein is what happens in the stomach.
Well, talk to me about food a little bit. That's the final step for replenishing ourselves. I mean, it could be ultimately the main reason you are deficient.
Yes, the key with diet, the best reliable source is animal proteins. So seafood in Japan, meat, pork, poultry, and to a lesser extent even eggs and dairy products. That's where they're the only reliable sources naturally occurring in nature. So the challenge with diet, as people age, maybe they have heart disease or diabetes, or I know we all advocate moving to a more plant-based diet. You might be cutting back on some of these animal proteins and not replacing with seafood that, you know, in Japan they're doing. And so that, coupled with changes in stomach acid, changes in physiology as we age, we're not absorbing effectively even what we are taking.